Hello, hello. Greetings, beloved. I'm so glad you're here again for another show at New Thought Media Network. I'm Michelle Wadley, aka Rev Jersey Girl on the Jersey Girl Wisdom Show, a show that initially started out to have a lightness and a fun to it, but it's moved and it's morphed and it's turned into so many things. And this particular month, we are dedicated to women, and I have a soft spot in my heart as a woman and as a woman leader and as a self-defined leadership woman in leadership. So we have been featuring women from different genres. And today is kind of fun because I started off this week in a different show, and that was with Laura Topper, and I got to be international with her because she comes into us from England, and it was so much fun. And she is such a delightful and wonderful hostess, and I learned so much. And so we had planned already to be together this week. So today on this show, I invite you to welcome into the show someone you know better than me because she's been around in New Thought Media longer than I. I invite you to welcome Laura Topper. Come on in the show.
Oh,
there she is.
hi.
Hi, hello.
Michelle. It's so great to be here with you. We're back.
We're having a little bit of a mutual, what do you call that?
Appreciation.
Yeah, we're having some mutual appreciation and enjoying each other's company. And there's a sweetness to that, which is so great. And so
I'm feeling that too.
Oh God, yeah. It's been, you know when something's right when it just goes like this.
Yeah.
Right. And we started chatting, and I reached out to you a few weeks back because I thought, I want to know more about her, and I love the international flavor. So during this time together today, in addition to you introducing a song that we're going to play of yours, I would like you to talk to us a little bit about your history and what that's been like for you and the impact that you have seen it have in the world. So talk to us and introduce the world right now to the song that we want to play as we have you enter or start the show today.
Oh, if we start with that song, that would be amazing. So the song is called Woman of Power. And the reason that it's called Woman of Power is because in 2018, me and Jason, that you can see there, my partner in music, we were the music ministry along with Stogood for the Bournemouth UK Centre for Spiritual Living conference. And at that conference was Reverend Edwina Gaines. And she was incredible. She was incredible. And she was talking on stage and really sharing her whole life story. And the first thing that she said in her introduction is, I am Reverend Edwina Gaines, and I am a woman of power. And, if you listen to her on video anywhere online, you can find her in her YouTubes. And she always begins with that same, I am Edwina Gaines, and she tells about her story, and I am a woman of power. That really struck me, that she was there in all of her glory and so authentically saying that. And so it was about a year later when this song arrived in my heart and in Jason's heart. And I think the words had been really percolating for me in my mind. Wow, woman of power. What does that really mean to be a woman of power, And I knew it had to be an upbeat song, and Jason created the music, and we loved that song and we recorded it. And it was this year, Christmas this year, going through my own personal journey of, things not being the way I really wanted them to be. Well, that was just me thinking it should be something else.
Right.
And I just realized I'd made so many beautiful friends and acquaintances on Facebook and social media because of what's happening. And I reached out to them and I thought, I need to make a video for this song. And I reached out to people, and if I would have known you then, Reverend Michelle, you would have been in this video. In fact, we're going to do a retake, and you're going to, because a few people have said, oh my gosh, I wish I could have been in that video.
Well, and I want to tell the audience, you might recognize some of the women in Laura's video, and I
Yeah,
love that they're from all over, and
yeah,
we look like all shapes and sizes, and I really appreciate that too.
yeah.
I
That
really
was,
appreciate you didn't have one type of woman,
oh
or just
no,
one type.
it was different, and everybody was saying yes, 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 I want to be in it. And we had so many people, and it took us a while to really edit this video. We
I
edited it
bet.
ourselves, and it was fun. I mean, by the end of making it, it was like, yeah, I want to dance with everybody in a room together, you know. But the message is there, and the people that did show up and danced in the video all had the same. You know, they all said at the end of it, "This is so empowering. This makes me feel, or it allows me to feel that I'm in." You know, I am a woman of power, and so that's the story of this and how it's here. It took 2 years to get the video here, and yet it's all perfectly timed. You know.
So we're going to play this song for you now. We invite you to stay and enjoy it, and at the end you're going to just go love on Laura for it.
Sing your song. United we stand.
to believe. Hear the beat, your divinity, open to receive. Hear the beat, your divinity, ready to believe. Hear the beat, our divinity, open to receive. Hear the beat, our divinity, woman of power.
Woo! I am
Oh
a
my
woman
gosh.
of power. I love this. Oh my God. Oh my God. And I know the
Yeah.
audience is loving it with the comments and all of that. Oh my God, I'm so
Oh,
pleased.
and you can, that video is on YouTube, and for anybody that's watching it, they can look up the women. Most of them are on Facebook, you know, so you can see their names and follow them if you like, because they've all got a lot to they're doing amazing things in their own right, you know.
How can they buy the song?
Yes, on my website lauratopper.com, they can buy the song.
Right. So
Definitely.
maybe we can get Diego to put that back on.
Oh,
Excuse me.
thank you.
I was moving around. I took my headphones off, but Diego.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a.
There we go.
Better. Yeah, thank you.
I was too excited. I was moving around. You know, I'm exhilarated. I could feel all this energy inside of me right now. And I thank you, because that's what music does.
Yeah.
Right? Music creates an opportunity to heal and grow and open in a way that has fun and love and joy in it. You know, so thank you. Thank you for that, Laura.
Thank you for playing it. Really.
Oh my God.
It's wonderful to
Absolutely.
see it like that, played out, knowing that people will watch it here on New Thought Media Network from your show.
Yes. Absolutely. And I want you to talk about your journey in a minute. The only thing that I wanted to say that to add to that, and for any woman that's listening, especially, Laura's a bold and brilliant, and she's outgoing, and she's talented and musical, and sometimes the power of woman is the woman that gives birth, or just the woman, or the, I don't mean just, or the woman that that recovers from a life that's been hard, or the one that helps your children through being sick, or you know, we don't have to just be out in the world. Is all I want to make. I want to make that point.
I'm so pleased that you've said that, because this song is not to say, you know, to be powerful or to be in your power, you have to be doing something that looks to the world like you've achieved something so-called successful, because that is not what being a woman of power is all about. That is not the message. For me, it's being a woman of power is knowing that we have that power and being able to use it so that we can live the experience that we want to live, whatever that is. Whatever that is.
Laura, what do you think is your superpower as a woman? What is your superpower?
I think patience.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I know it might feel like you think maybe it would, but just
no, I'm not thinking anything.
I think patience, because I know from my journey, and how sometimes I feel like I want things to unfold quicker than they do, or I want things to change in, you know, and I've learned patience. I've mastered that for myself. And that's not been an easy learning, because I'm not that kind of person. I want it done quickly. I want it done now. It's got to be done yesterday, the whole thing. And
now I know why we get along.
Oh yeah, it's got to be done now. So I've had to learn to allow that to my desire not be the thing that matters here, and for me to learn to sit in patience and to allow that to unfold. And the more I've given into that or surrendered to that, the most beautiful things have happened, because I've been taking my my control out of the way. You know, it's this patience thing.
Mhm.
And when I walked the labyrinth that I walked in 2012, that completely dynamically changed the trajectory of my life at that time. And we were asked to pick up a stone before we entered the labyrinth. There were all these beautiful stones, crystals with words on them, you know, upside down. We couldn't see which one we were choosing. And that's the one. I've got it over there on my little altar shrine thing, you know, patience. That was the one I picked up. And I think that sparked something off in me, because I realized as I picked the stone up, I need this because it's not who I am. So I was being guided there and then to allow patience to be a guide for my life.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you. So talk to our audience, please, about give us the short tour of your journey from being Laura to being Laura, a spiritual being, a musical spiritual being, and even maybe into the journey of Science of Mind. Give us a little tour of your life.
Okay, well, it's a long tour, but I'll give you the edited version. I know your show is like we haven't got 4 hours, so I'm going to give you the short version. Yeah, the mini version. Well, it was in 2012 when I realized that because of an experience that happened for me at the labyrinth, walking the labyrinth, that I'd realized that I had been living my life inside out and upside down up to that point. And I'm sure, Michelle, you may resonate with that on some level. And for whoever's listening, you know, that we get to a point, or we can get to a point where things are just really not working the way that we want them to work, and everything fell apart for me. It crumbled, everything. And I was given this incredible opportunity to really reevaluate my life, how I really want to live my life. And doing that was for me at that point was a very crucial thing, because I knew that I would be entering into a whole other, a new journey, a new undertaking, and that it would mean that people would not support me. And so I let go of that need to have people supporting me on the way. Do you know what I mean? It was like,
I do.
It was a lonely decision that I made, and yet it was a lifesaver. It was a lifesaver. And from that, I discovered my singing voice, because and it wasn't because of that I discovered my singing voice. It was because of that I realized that I wanted to start playing guitar again, because I used to play when I was 13. I wrote a list of all the things that I really wanted to start doing that I hadn't allowed myself to do or given myself permission to do creatively. And on that list was start playing guitar. So I walked into a local shop, and there was a card on the wall, and there was a woman, Garima, her name, and she was giving guitar lessons. And I rang her up, and I started having guitar lessons with her. And she was giving me the most beautiful songs to play, Celtic songs. And I just wanted to sing the songs. And after about the 5th lesson, I said to her, I really don't want guitar lessons. I want singing lessons, because I love my voice is coming out here. And so I started singing, and I started writing meditations, and then that's how my first album came about. That's how that came about in 2014. And from there on, it just evolved, because more songs were coming, and I started learning and studying through Reverend Anya Slater here in the UK, because I discovered Science of Mind. And so things were really just opening up in that way. And I realized that I was honoring a part of me that I'd squashed for a long time creatively. And so for anyone that's listening, the piece there in that is to really sit with ourselves and allow, if there's something spontaneous that wants to come through, we never know what that's going to lead to. And it may not be the initial thing, you know, but then
Right.
something else can show up because of that.
Right.
And that
Right.
spirit always wants to take us on a bit of a journey
Yes.
to get to the thing. It's not always obvious. So it's like a labyrinth in that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
being open and saying yes, and just keep saying yes, and using each thing as a stepping stone to the next, rather than trying to plant myself in one thing and saying, this is the definition of who I am. It's more fun that way. For me, It's more fun that way.
Yeah. You know, I want to share I'm going to make it a very quick story, because it's what allows me to even celebrate you. When I was very young, for reasons of story and life and family and limitation, my family had cultivated in me a competitive nature, and that was even with my sisters. I'm one of 5 sisters. If I had a nickel for every time my mother had said, "Oh, your sisters are just jealous." Now, I never knew at the time what that meant, but what happened was it was something I had believed, and what that caused is it caused me to constantly feel jealous of other women, or to compete, or to be afraid of. And then, thank God for this Unitarian church that used to be near my home, and they'd have this yearly Women for Women gathering. And I went there with my best friend at the time, and they had all these workshops by women, for women. And one of the things that they had, which I'd never seen before live, they had live belly dancing. But the belly dancing was for women. It wasn't what I thought it was. And I get so weepy on this show. And all of a sudden, all of my defenses about women fell away. And I started to love women, like, and not be afraid, and admire their superpowers. And easily some woman could walk into my community, and I could look at them and say, "Wow, you're beautiful." Where in my earlier years, that would have been so difficult for me. But now so I get so excited by especially when a woman knows her place. And let me tell you what that place is. It's the top.
It's not in the
leadership.
kitchen.
It's not in the kitchen. It's what you're doing. It's saying, "I have power," or I am power. So, and as I'm listening to you, it's like, it's so great to be able to celebrate you. And I know there's a couple of listeners, people watching here. We have a beautiful, I'm going to call you out. I'm going to call out one of our, I don't know if she's still on. There's a beautiful woman in here. Her name is Amber Guzman. And Amber was a student of mine, a practitioner student. There she is.
Amber. Hi, Amber.
Amber has this gorgeous voice.
Oh,
Gorgeous voice. She can sing, as they say.
yeah.
And she brings this light. And what I love is that I'm watching her become who I know she's being, and she's capable of being. And so that's the thing. Even as an older woman now, I don't look back at other women and wish I was. I just celebrate them and their youth and their beauty and their strength. So I'm celebrating you, even listening to you in all of this.
Oh, you know, I love what you're saying. It's this celebration of women, because who we meet and who we see, they're aspects of who we are as well. You know, so when we're meeting these women and these creative aspects that are coming out through these others, this is always a reminder for us that this is us, and this is what we can celebrate in our own lives, those parts of us. And when you said, you know, when I said a woman's place is not in the kitchen, you know, I didn't mean that the kitchen is a bad place to be in, because
God knows, I love my kitchen. I love my kitchen.
You know, but I love the way you said that we don't need to define ourselves by that mass consciousness idea of what we should be, or what our mothers thought we should be, or our grandmothers, even in our heads.
Unless we want to.
unless we want
Unless
to,
you
of
want
course,
to.
because we have the choice,
Right.
you know. And I
Oh,
watched,
look at
I watched
Amber.
Amber. I'm a lotus coming out of the mud. Amber,
Yes,
just
you are.
the thing is just to sing, because when I started this accepting my voice, it wasn't I want to sing, and it was for the fun. It was for the fun of it and the joy of it. And I didn't even like my voice when I made my first album in 2012. I didn't like it, but I loved the journey of creating the songs and working with Kate Daisy Grant and making the music and going into a recording studio and learning how to make a CD. That was like, oh my gosh, this is so exciting, this whole new thing, because that wasn't my life up until then. You know, I was in retail, in fashion, working in high-end fashion, women's retail, serving women in the fitting room, you know, in a different way. It was a whole different way. It was like getting their right outfits, and 9 times out of 10 I'd be having these conversations with women about their lives, not about what outfits they wanted, because I knew that wasn't me. That wasn't, you know, it was my family. I'd grown up in that arena, but I knew that fashion wasn't, I love fashion, but I knew it wasn't my calling to be of service to life. And I never allowed myself to really explore, well, what is that for you, Laura? Until that labyrinth walk happened. And then I realized, wow, the choices that we have, that we deny ourselves.
Absolutely. And I've been so excited that this has been the fastest 28 minutes since the show has started back in, I think, November. And I haven't even taken time. Please, if you have enjoyed this show, if you enjoy Laura's show on Monday night, any of the other broadcasts, I'm really asking you, turn around and give to New Thought Media. You don't have to give a lot. Just give something. And the best thing, even if you gave $10 a month every month for the year, and everybody who regularly benefits here, if you've been listening to the show, give to the show. Because in order to keep the programming alive, we need to finance it. It doesn't fall from nowhere. So please, please, please support the show. Everybody on here, by the way, Laura, myself, all of the talent are free. We donate our time. We donate our time. So I'm not asking you to pay. Yeah, it's out of love. I'm not asking you to do it so we get paid. I just want it to exist. So anyway, that's my 2 cents. newthoughtmedia.org. Go in there, be generous, and especially if you can give monthly. All right. So Laura, you have this, I'm going to give you this magic wand. You have now the power of a magic wand. What do you want to do with it? Going forward, let us into, if it's okay, let us into your dream.
Oh yeah. Well, I'll let you into a part of my dream. For me, it's for me to really fully empower myself. I'm still on this journey of learning that it's okay for me to live how I truly want to live, and to come out of my idea of how I think it should be. So I'm still on this learning journey, and of letting go of how I think it should be. And I think this year, with what we've all been experiencing with COVID and everything else, that we're all being given this really amazing opportunity to tune into our hearts, to be honest with ourselves, and to live spontaneously in the moment. And that doesn't mean not being responsible. That doesn't mean, just switching from one thing to the next, but it means listening deeply to our hearts. And for me, I feel that I am that person that is a teacher of that, to show people that they can do that for their own lives, because of how I've journeyed and the adventure that I've been on. For the whole of 2020, I was living homelessly. And it was only halfway through that I decided to turn that around in my whole knowing and say, this is a choice. I'm choosing to live like this. And that was very empowering when I did that, because it took me completely out of victim mode. It allowed me to see that what I was going through, that I have a choice in every moment, A, of how I see this and how I perceive it, and B, of how I handle it, how I actually put what the meaning I'm putting onto it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a key here, is to remember that we all have a choice. So that magic wand for me is about really using that knowing of choice in the moment.
Yeah.
And not getting so stuck in this, how we think it should be, and allowing ourselves to breathe through and be creative. And yeah.
Beautiful. So if you were to call out some of the people in flesh or not, they've passed, who would be your teachers? Who are those who have inspired you?
Well, I'll say my nanny Rosie, my grandma, my mother's mom. Yeah, she's like in my heart. I know my Nana Rosie is that person for me that she was always there for me with just this unconditional love. Unconditional love. Even when I swore at her when I was about 10 and she shoved a bar of soap down my mouth and said, don't you ever swear again. Okay. My little old Jewish grandmother. That's the way it was done when I was 10. But right. But you know what? I laugh at that now, because that was her and that was her way. But she wasn't like that that wasn't her true nature, really. She was the most incredible woman who was very strong in her mind and in her heart, and very loving. So I would say her. And other people along the way. I mean, there are so many spiritual teachers and guides that I look to that are alive still now, and even people like Louise Hay. I just say, wow, she was an incredible woman to do what she did in the 80s, to really bring this teaching out in the way that she did. I love that. I love her diversity and her energy.
I'm looking at what just got posted. Our precious Evelyn Bourne saying that grandmothers. I missed the whole statement, but I know
are such a blessing.
And she recently said goodbye to her grandmother not so long ago, and so we kind of loved her and supported her in that journey. So Evelyn, I know that your grandmother's still alive in you. I just wanted to mention that.
I'm really pleased that you brought that up right now as well, for Evelyn, for me as well, because I think my grandmother is more alive now, because I have this connection with her within me, more so even when I was, a young girl growing up. Now I can really hear her and really hear what she's saying and apply it to my life in a really bold way. Yeah.
I only had one grandmother left by the time I was born, because I was so late in the family, and she wasn't very well. She was of poor health, and I didn't have her long enough to ever engage her in an intellectual basis, in conversation. So my hope and dream is just that I could be that for my grandchildren. And I love that you call your grandma Nana, because that's
Nana,
what that's what they call me.
Yeah,
sweet. So who else? Are there anybody out alive whose name you want to say, hey, I love and appreciate you?
Oh my gosh. My God, the list just goes on and on. There are so many people that I feel that I look to, and yet they're hard to name. I'm constantly reading and constantly, researching. And as a student of science of mind and in ministerial, we're always being pushed to read outside the lines, if you like, and read beyond. And I think from a female perspective, I would say someone like Emily Pankhurst. She's not alive anymore, but her spirit, chaining herself to the railings because she believed in that. She believed in the power of the vote and that women needed to have that.
I just found out about her because I'm watching
Oh,
a series on the suffragette movement in England,
yeah.
and I
Massive.
just got introduced to her.
Oh, and it was 100 years later in 2018 that they created a statue of her and placed it outside the Houses of
Lovely.
Parliament and celebrated her for her courage and
Mm-hmm.
moving the needle in such a dramatic way, chaining herself, you know, and saying, "This is it. I really don't
Right.
care what you're going to do with me, but I'm standing up for this." And I think
Which is pretty scary.
that is scary. Yeah, I mean,
My body is. I'm willing to give up my body for this cause. Like, holy
yes,
moly!
yeah. And I know now we that's given women, I think, big permission for all of the rallies and the activism and the peace marches. And I think she
Mm-hmm.
opened something there for women to say, right, well, if she can do that, then I can do this, you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So a real opener, I think.
Beautiful.
She was here for that. And then I really admire women that are very low key,
Okay.
and out of the limelight, and yet doing amazing things.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we can all resonate with women that we know in our personal lives or in our communities, women that are just getting on with it and not asking for any glory, not asking to be on Facebook and to be seen and have 3,000 million followers and all that kind of thing.
Right.
And yet they're getting on with what they're doing with that. And I'm going to tell you one of those women in the video is that for me, and that is Christine. She's in Kenya. She's a practitioner, and that was her family dancing with her.
Oh.
And she works for a charity in Africa where she's educating young girls and boys on menstruation.
Oh.
And she sits at home, Reverend Michelle, she sits at home day in, day out by the sewing machine, making sanitary towels out of fabric. And she goes and travels around Kenya, handing them out through this charity
Wow.
to girls to educate them because of the shame that is attached to menstruation in Africa right now, because girls don't have they don't have the hygienic tools, if you like, and technology that we have here in the West. And so it's a woman like that, you know, who just gets on with it and does it. And I always look up to to women that are on that.
Yeah, that's a good. Speak her name again so we all can hear it, please.
Oh, yes. Her name is Christine Kamasaki. I think that's her surname, but she's at the beginning of that video dancing with her family.
I saw. Beautiful.
Yeah. Very powerful. Yeah. And very humble.
Yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. And you just reminded me, somebody we said goodbye to, I don't know if it's last year or the year before now. COVID has made my timing a little bit bit tainted. Reverend Connie, Connie
Reverend,
Felt.
Well, Reverend Connie was her teacher.
I was wondering, okay, and Connie, the courage, the stories that she, you know, and I know that it was Dr. Ken Gordon who looked at her one day and said, "You need to go to Africa."
Right.
He didn't ask her if she wanted to. He just said, "You have to go to Africa." And she was like, "Okay." And she did it. And it was so beautiful. So I want to speak her name because it was, I wasn't very elegant in saying goodbye to her when she left, when my colleagues did a memorial, because I struggled with missing her. I really did. We had a sweet friendship, and every time we didn't see each other often, and every time we did, it was this incredible love fest. And I've missed her in the flesh, and I still celebrate her though. And so I just wanted to speak her name into the room. for courage,
Oh,
especially for courage.
oh, courage and boldness, and
Yes,
to
yes,
just go to Africa not knowing anyone, to basically begin um, bringing awareness of the science of mind teachings to
right,
Africa,
right,
not knowing
yeah.
anybody. And she now has a center. There are 60 odd people that meet every week online,
Oh,
you're learning and studying, and there are 4 practitioners, and Christine is now in ministerial education. You know,
I
they've
did. Oh,
5 of
Christine, we're
them,
singing
and
your
they've
praises here.
amazing. So the ripple effect of Reverend Connie.
Yeah,
It's
beautiful,
that ripple,
beautiful.
isn't it? Setting the ripple in motion, and I think we're all doing that in our own ways. And it's not about
Hmm.
big or small, or it doesn't have to be bold and out there and seen. We can do that with our own, with our own forgiveness work and with our own gratitude, and it's
We were
just
just in sync with that. It's funny
yeah.
because I actually, for me, when I asked you about your superpower before, I think my superpower is forgiveness.
Forgiveness.
Because, and then in that act, what happens is I choose not to keep anger and resentment going. And when any one of us chooses to forgive, we become the change agent that stops that action and redirects our attention. So I'm so glad you mentioned that because I was thinking it as it came out of your mouth. So beautiful.
Yeah, and you've created amazing courses around it as well. I want to delve into your courses and know more about your
We'll
forgiveness
talk. We'll
courses.
talk more about that.
Yeah.
It's truly meaningful. The people who have been in the courses have seriously benefited. Some beautiful stories have come out, but that's about me. That's not about you. So as we come to the time of close, if you could leave just one message out there, Laura, especially for the women of any age,
Okay.
and especially for the women, the ears of a young woman, what would you like to leave as a seed in their mind and in their heart? Plant a seed.
Okay. I would say listen. Listen to what is in your heart and what it is that you truly, truly desire to express, and to do
Mm,
that and to do it. And it doesn't mean doing it quickly or doing it, in one big foul swoop, one step at a time, to take that action and to fulfill that
mm,
desire. And because you just never know where it's going to lead. It's like that
right,
old fashioned saying, you don't know what's around the corner. And if you
right.
don't acknowledge it, then you're denying yourself your greatest gift of love coming through you, and
Yes.
and continuing on the journey of life, which is continually unfolding for our highest good. So I would say to somebody that's younger to use that that courage that you have, because I think the younger we are, the more courageous we might be in just going for it, and to
Right.
really enjoy the moment and do
Mm,
it, even if you don't feel you're good enough.
mm.
Stop judging that, and do it and have fun and enjoy it.
Yes,
That's
yes.
it.
Beautiful.
Enjoy. Yeah.
Mm, lovely. Laura, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I just adore you. I am a fan. Um, I
Oh,
I hope we play together again at
yeah,
another time.
we
And
will.
anybody who's watching, please know that Laura and everybody on this show, here I am getting weepy again. I don't know what it's about me. Everybody on this network is here for your empowerment, your upliftment, to encourage you to love yourself as you are not. And Laura has been dedicated to this now for quite some time. So visit her on Monday nights, if you will. Buy her music, buy her album, check her out. And thank you so much. And Lori
Oh,
Carlson, you are
thank you,
so
Laurie.
welcome. And
Thank you,
I
Laurie. It's been great
appreciate
to meet
you.
you.
And Laura, much love to you, and we'll be back around to each other.
Thank you so much for inviting me onto Jersey Girl. I love you, and I love everything you're doing, and I just feel so grateful to have met you like this and to be here now sharing with you on this amazing network.
And let's end it by saying, what does Edwin Gaines say, Laura?
I am a woman of power.
And I am a woman of power.
Yes.
New Thought Radio, music from all your favorite New Thought artists. From Jamie Lula, Karen Drucker, Gary Lynn Floyd, Ricky Byers, Daniel Nahmod, Eddie Watkins Jr., and many, many more. 24/7 New Thought Radio. Positively inspiring.